What is up? Today I'm talking about most producers versus successful producers. So this is what 90% of producers typically do. First one being they're not interested in entrepreneurship or business. They just want to make music. They don't even want to think about business. Nope. Just want to have fun, make music. They're working a side job or a full-time job, which is okay, but part of those two issues is that one, that means that they spend their free time playing video games, not doing hard shit, not working out, not taking care of themselves, and not spending every single waking moment of their free time focusing on the music. They're stubborn and unwilling to change, and they believe that talent is the difference maker. So this kind of plays back into that not interested in entrepreneurship and they just want to make music. Time and time again, I run into producers that are stubborn, just won't change, refuse, don't have any success, and say, I want to do this. And I go, okay, cool, so you must do Y. And they go, no, I don't want to do that. And I go, okay, well, then you'll continue to be not successful in the music business. Then you have the 10% of producers, and they have pretty much always been these traits, which is they're interested in entrepreneurship to some extent or the business. They definitely understand that music is just a piece of the puzzle, right? We all love music. Of course, we want to make music. Music is their full-time job, so that means that they wake up and their number one focus and free time is dedicated towards making sure they can continue being successful in the music business. All of their music is out there and registered. That just means that they're collecting all their royalties because I think a lot of people focus on making of the music and then not worrying about, once again, the business, making sure that the music they've put out is being collected on properly so that they can get that money into their account. They adapt with change fairly easy. So I noticed between the 90s and the 10s, right, is that change is devastating to this kind of individual, right? And I think for most humans, it generally tends to be this devastating blow. Whereas the successful producers, and this just goes to life in general, is they adapt with change fairly easily. Doesn't mean that the thing is easy. It just means that they are conditioned to be like, what are you going to do? Charge it to the game, as they would say. Last one, they believe that hard work beats talent. And so if you're in the top percent of producers, you're probably fairly talented with music to begin with. But that also means that you have recognized that hard work is going to trump that talent. So if you put them together, it's going to be a pretty scary combo. And so what I have is two pathways of those sort of repeating cycles. So I want to start with the 90% of producers. These are all just stock images I found online talking a little bit about these things. I just thought this one was funny. So they always have excuses, and you're always the victim in life. Wah, life sucks, boo-hoo, right? It's always, oh, I couldn't do it because X, or this happened, or that happened. The next thing I notice is they get off work and they immediately start doom scrolling on Instagram or TikTok, playing video games. They have no goals written down. You just kind of dream about being a successful producer instead of putting the hard work in. And you make music for fun, but you pretend that it's your number one focus in life. Like, once again, no goals, no motivation, you eat like shit, you don't invest any money from your job into music. You see that as spending money rather than investing money. Next one is you're not willing to stay up late and grind music, let alone chase discomfort and sacrifice for a life you dream of. In the early days, I kid you not, I was going to college, community college, getting up at 7 a.m. to catch the bus because my car could not make it to the college campus on its own. So I'd get up at 7, drive to the bus station, park there, and then take about an hour and a half to get to school. My first class would start about 9:30, and then I'd be at school till about 3 o'clock. Then I would take the bus home again, and that would take about an hour and a half, 2 hours. So it took me, unfortunately, 4 hours of travel time, sometimes 3 to 4 hours just to get to and from college. And then I would immediately get ready, go to work from, say, 5, 6 to 10, 11 p.m. most nights. Then from then, I really only had from 11:30 till 4 or 5 a.m. to work on music. And for a very long time, I don't necessarily recommend this level of it, I was getting 3-4 hours of sleep almost every single night. If I was lucky, I would sleep on the bus to and from school. I would sleep in class to kind of make up for it, but all of my sleep was really crappy, and I wasn't getting like REM sleep. So these people, they get off work, they do the 9 to 5, they make food, stroll on their phone, play video games, and then go to bed 10, 11 o'clock instead of spending every possible waking hour. Next thing is, once again, I just found these funny. You spend your money going out. You have no problem going to the club, buying alcohol, spending $20 a shot, buying clothes, and $40-50 a day on DoorDash instead of investing it back into music. You look at, I always see this the same way. These people look at spending money on music equipment as spending it rather than investing it. So they're not thinking, okay, if I buy this $100 MIDI keyboard and I make 2 more beats a day, and then if I'm lucky because I watched all these courses and I sell that beat for $5,000, I just 50x'd my money. They just see it as, oh, I'm gonna spend $100. And that is the one of the biggest issues I have with producers, is them understanding you're going to have to spend money, you're gonna have to invest in your career, and if you're not willing to invest in your career, why would anybody take you seriously? What else we have? Yeah, next thing is, you love playing video games. Listen, dude, I love video games. I don't play them that much anymore. I can't really afford to, and they're insanely addicting. I used to be this guy. I would play video games all the time. I would max out my character and spend 100, 200 hours on a game and blah, blah, blah. I would complete all these challenges and level up in my game instead of treating my life the same way. So your dopamine has been hijacked and you can't seem to do hard shit anymore. Video games are so good at making you feel like you are constantly achieving things rather than getting through the hard shit in life. And then repeating cycle. You go to work, you play video games, you watch TikToks, you live paycheck to paycheck. You don't invest money into music. You try something, you fail, and you give up. Now we have the 10% of producers. And so, nice car, money, on vacation, whatever, right? I just thought that was a applicable thing because everybody wants to have a nice car and a hot chick in their front seat and money and be on vacation. This is where I started. This is me in 2014, maybe 15. And I am in my first studio setup at my parents' house. These KRK Rockets were given to me by my parents after I graduated high school. Thank you guys so much. They're like something like $300. This Novation 49 key keyboard was like $150, $200. And then I'm sitting in this crappy Amazon chair that definitely hurt my back all the time. I found this computer desk on Craigslist and I picked it up for $25. Shout out to that person. And I made these homemade speaker shelves by cutting up some random thing that we weren't using in the back of the house, and I painted them black. And then these acoustic panels that I spent like $200 on, and then there's like a little AC unit that was $150. PS3, I think that's a PS3. Yeah, it's a PS3. Holy crap! And then Call of Duty. So these are the steps that I took in my career, and this is what got me from my small hometown where nobody has ever made it in music, living at my parents' crib with a tiny little setup, to packing everything up that I own, which wasn't much at the time. I think I was 19 or 20 years old, and moving to LA. And I didn't have a plan. I was just a kid with a dream, hoping that I could make it in music. And then you have a couple of things where shortly after that, I was then living here. You can't tell, but I used to have an air mattress, a really crappy one that I put right there that deflated half the time. So I'd wake up and literally be like on the floor. And I had a tiny little crappy setup right here where I maxed out my credit card to get it. And then you can't tell by this picture, but like I said, this is my last day at my friend's apartment in North Hollywood. He let me sleep in the living room on the couch while I figured out my life for like 6 months. And then I was really depressed when I took this picture. I remember it so vividly. I had nowhere to go, and I knew I'd be sleeping in my car again, and that really sucked. But I ended up doing exactly that. I ended up sleeping in my car for about 3 months. And if you've never slept in your car, and this was not the first time I slept in my car, this is just another time I'd slept in my car, but if you've ever slept in your car for extended period of time, it sucks, man. It's probably the worst thing I've done. And I used to shovel 12 hours a day for an old job. Then you have right here, this is when I was sleeping on the floor at my buddy's apartment, Mike Hector, in West Hollywood in 2019. I was sleeping in my car before this and showering at Jim's. So believe it or not, this was a huge upgrade in my life, and I was really grateful. And you could find this video on my Instagram. Some of the stuff you can find on my Instagram, actually. And I tried to post some of the stuff, but as you can understand, I wasn't exactly dying to share these moments with people while I was going through it. It wasn't until I was out of it that I was like, man, that was awesome. That built a lot of character. And fast forward, these are some plaques we just ordered. We need a bunch more that we still haven't ordered. Hit 1 billion streams on music I've worked on. I bought this plaque for my mom. She's hanging it at their house. This is the room that I'm in right now. This is my current setup. I want to throw some more gear in here, but definitely my favorite setup so far. You have, anime things that I'm proud of, some music I've worked on, my original FL Studio box, some figurines, my giant ass widescreen monitor, split my neon at the new crib in Beverly Hills. This is where I live now. So literally from 2019, sleeping on the floor. I mean, look at how crusty and musty this looks, man. This was not fun. This was not fun trying to hang out with girls. This was not... my entire life was in this little crappy $50 Target plastic container thing right here, and then my laundry's right here, and I had this right here so that the other person who had a bed right there that you can't see, we couldn't make eye contact or whatever. So I had some level of separation, and then this was the other room. So the fridge was also to the right of me when I slept, and whenever people would open the fridge, it was so stinky and dirty and gross that it would wake me up from the smell and the light and the sound. So tough times, but literally going from this to packing everything up with no plan, moving to LA, sleeping on buddies' couches and floors and studios, to then living in Beverly Hills with a bunch of plaques, billions of streams, because this doesn't count Apple Music, and unfortunately I've not been credited on a lot of music. So this is more accurately somewhere around 2.5-3 billion streams, but not gonna lose sleep over that. Signing a deal with Sony Music Publishing, shout out my boy Jason, and this is one of my studios at my house right now that we're in. So you see nowadays this amazing life that I live and all these awesome producers that have been around and the nice stuff that we have. But what you didn't really see is all of the steps that it took to get there, right? I mean, this is from 2014, or maybe this is 15, to 2019. This is 4 years, really 4 or 5 years of just pure suffering and hard times. It didn't mean that I didn't enjoy the process, but I was spending every dollar I had to buy music gear or to stay in LA or to pay for gas or whatever it was. And I knew that if I was willing to do what most people would not do, which is all this kind of crap, and I have tons of photos and videos that I unfortunately lost. I had videos of me talking in my car while I was sleeping in it, like, hey man, just making this video to, inspire myself later when I've made it, blah, 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 that I lost, which sucks. But I simply knew that if I was willing to put myself under a lot of stress, a lot of uncomfortable moments, that I would end up in the top 5, top 10% of people in the music industry. Because this sucks, right? This was really tough. There were many times that I wanted to quit, but at the same time, this is when I met people like Tory Lanez and got to be around them all the time in the studio. And I met literally everybody that I basically know in my life now during this struggle period. And this struggle period, I like to look at it as like, everybody is a block of ice. And there's those ice sculpture people that sit there and they fucking hammer out a piece of ice. This really chipped away and built my character. It made me strong. It made me realize that when I got in the room with, you could put me in the room with anybody. Put me in the room with Drake, doesn't matter. I'm going to be just fine. I'm going to feel confident and comfortable because I've been through so much shit to get to where I am today. Or this doesn't even account for the hundreds of thousands of dollars I've been in debt, not all at once, just 20 grand here, borrow 15,000 there, borrow 50,000 here, all of that to just keep going, and to put myself here. And so just imagine this is literally 10 years ago to now. Imagine where I'll be 10 years from now, assuming that I continue to put myself in these uncomfortable positions. I keep investing in my career and I keep trying to help people, The biggest switch around going from something as dramatic as this to this was I started Splitmind, and I'm actually going to add that here. Started Splitmind in 2019. And so while I was sleeping on this floor, I started Splitmind, and I just continued to help tons of creatives. The first people on the team were Benny X and Todd Pritch and James Delgado and Beautiful Man and so on and so forth. So I kept trying to help people. They were helping me in return. And when you try to help other people accomplish their dreams, you can get a lot further, a lot faster. So that's it, man. This is what most people do, right? They work their side job or their full-time job. They get off work. They play video games. They live paycheck to paycheck. They never invest in their career. They're happy to go out, buy alcohol, buy clothes, DoorDash. And they're just not willing to sacrifice this comfort. You know, a lot of people would look at, you know, something like this or something like this or whatever and go, man, like I could never. And you're basically telling yourself that you don't really want to make it in the music business. And the funny thing is that in today's world with technology and the internet, you don't really have to go through something as dramatic as this, right? It's so easy to connect with people online. You can get your music heard like never before online with Reels and YouTube and this and that. But in these days that weren't even that long ago, it was harder to connect with artists. It was harder to get your music heard. And there wasn't really a clear blueprint of how do you make it in the music industry with the internet. It was like, here are the old ways. You must follow the old ways. You must sleep in your car. You must sleep in the studio. You must sleep on the floor. You must be broke. You must be stressed out. You must be all of these things. And what I'm going to show you through all of my courses is how to, you know, you're still going to have to go through your own arc, right? You're still your struggle arc to some extent, but how can we work smarter so that you can suffer less pain, build more character, and get to where you want to go faster? That's really my goal. And the best part is that I can speak from experience, and I've helped dozens of producers live out their dreams, and I'm living my dreams in real time. So thank you guys for watching this video. I'm looking forward to getting more into this, and I will continue to unfold all of these experiences because this is literally just the tip of the iceberg, right? I'm showing you all the highlights and the lowlights, but let's get into the weeds and figure out how I got from here to there.